Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, and I am a nerd, and you are lucky enough to be here for the July 2017 PracticeMaster Virtual User Group meeting, where today we are talking about eNotes and eNotify. If you don't know what that means, hold on, because Mary Jo is going to explain it in just a moment. And ODBC, does anybody know what that means? Well, I do. It means Open Database Connectivity, but I'm going to talk about how to connect to your data to use it for things like Excel spreadsheets or reports in external programs. So now, without any further ado, I will hit a series of magical buttons that will take us to a magical place where Mary Jo will start to talk about eNotes and eNotify.
I'm waiting for little fairies or little trolls or something to pop up in this magical place that we're going, but
careful what you wish for.
Don't think that's going to happen. So, eNotify and eNotes in PracticeMaster are available in the Platinum version only. eNotes are like a little Interoffice Communication. If any of you had Instant Messenger in the past, you know, before we had all the texting and all the things we can do now, Interoffice Communication could be done with that. But this is an Interoffice Communication that's done directly through PracticeMaster. It's this little bubble up here. These are eNotes. And if we go ahead and open an eNote, it brings up a little screen here that you can start a new eNote. You can send it to any of the users that are listed in the system here. So you can send it to one or more, whoever you want this to go to. Groups are also available in here, so you can send an eNote to an entire group. And go ahead and put a message to them.
Send one to Ron so you can see what it's like when it comes.
We can do that. Let's send one to Ron. We're going to send from Ron to Ron. And I'm just going to type a quick message. Hi, Ron. And whatever you want to do there, and send it. And so Ron just got this eNote that popped up on his screen. It's a separate independent window. You can reduce your eNotes down on the screen on your taskbar. I can reply to this eNote if I want by clicking the reply button. I can forward the eNote, reply to all first. If there was everybody, maybe this was a group, but I only want to reply to one person or to all of them. Or I can forward the eNote on to somebody else. Now, think of this in the context, now I just said, hi, Ron, of something important, like let's go to lunch. No, just kidding. Let's go come to my office. I need to meet with you quickly on the Jones case. Just little messages like that you can send out to someone about something. Okay, so these in just a regular eNote is just messages that you type. You can copy and paste things in here if you'd like. The good thing about these too is that you can journal these. You can journal eNotes into the journal file for a specific matter. You can calendar from here. So if this were something that contained some specific information, I need to meet with you on such and such a date regarding the Jones case, you could immediately just hit the calendar and put it on your calendar in PracticeMaster right from here, and it would have everything in there in the comment section of the calendar note that was on this eNote. You also can bill for eNotes. So if this is something that you're doing in Interoffice Communication on a client and you need to bill that time to that matter, you can go ahead and click right from within the eNote and convert it to a fee and have that be in the client's file ready to be billed out. We also have some show-related items and dismissing the eNote. So if I get this eNote and I don't want to respond to him at the moment, or I respond and I just want to dismiss the eNote later, I can hit the dismiss button and it will go ahead and just bring me back to a blank screen. Now, it doesn't go away permanently. Those eNotes are stored, and you can go out to this little list button here. There's an eNote list, and when you go ahead and open the eNote list, we have some options in here to manage all of our eNotes. So the first thing that I'm looking at over my quick clicks is right now I'm looking at all of my eNotes that I've received or that I've sent. Everything is on this list of all the different sample eNotes. I also can just change it to be my unread eNotes, my received eNotes, my sent eNotes, all eNotes. This is everybody's eNotes if I have rights to see that, or all of my eNotes is the difference, or any deleted eNotes that I've done. I can see specific user eNotes if I have rights to do so. This is something that can be managed in Access Profile, so we can lock that down so other people can't see other people's eNotes if you need to, or I can see a certain person's eNotes if I needed to. So lots of different things here that I have on my list that I can do. I also can delete eNotes from the screen. So if I want to get rid of certain eNotes, they go over into my deleted eNotes section, and the little trash can will go ahead and delete those out. So there's lots of different things to manage the eNotes. There's also a snapshot view, so whatever is in the eNote you can see very quickly down in the snapshot without even having to open the eNote itself. So that's helpful. I'm going to go ahead and close that view for a moment and go back into my eNote. There's also some eNote settings, some preferences in here. So if we want to change how things look or how we're notified with an eNote, we can just go into the eNotes and click the settings or the preferences and say we want to disable them at startup. We can always have them on top. We can minimize them. We can also, when we're sending them, include an original eNote when replying, so it just kind of adds on to that. Or we can save the sent eNotes. All of these things we can turn on and off and have control over by user. So if I'm logged in as me, I can go ahead and control it for me. We can have a pop-up for new eNotes or a balloon, either one. And we can also automatically show the newest eNotes first. There's a sound that you can apply to that as well. There's different sounds out here in the file. So you can go out and look at the file and choose different sounds, and you can test those out by clicking on, well, I don't know if we even have those in there, so I shouldn't have probably went in there because this is test data, so I don't know what's in the test data. But once in the real data, you can pick the chime or whatever that you want and test it by clicking the button and see if that's annoying or not for you. So you can go ahead and do that. So these are all settings that you have underneath the little eNote preferences. So that's important. If I start a new eNote to someone, I also have the ability to mark it urgent. So if I want them to be able to see that this is an urgent message, I can actually specify that it is urgent. Copy, paste, and cut is in there as well. So you can, again, put that in. You can bold, italicize, and underline. So there's lots of different features in the eNotes themselves. Now I want to go one step further, and I want to talk about eNotify. So I'm going to go out to the client file, and I'm going to go to a journal note, and hopefully this guy has, what am I on? ABC foreclosure. So let's look at our note file and see if we have any notes. Of course not. Let's go to Michael Larson. He always has something. Michael Larson. And let's go into his note file and see what we got. Okay, here's a couple of notes that are out here. So let's say that I wanted to send, now these are journal notes, these aren't eNotes, these are just journal notes. Or maybe I just added Michael Larson as a new matter, and I want to go notify somebody that I just opened this matter, I want you to take a look at this. Or maybe I added a document to PracticeMaster, and I want to send that document on to the associate that's helping me with the case and say, hey, I just saved this document under PracticeMaster, take a look at it, let me know what you think. Or maybe it's a calendar record. I just added a calendar record, and I want to open the calendar record, and I want to send that out to one of my staff members to say, you know, hey, I just put this on both of our calendars. I want you to know that I did that. Hopefully you're available, whatever. So I'm just opening any one of these, a calendar file. I can send one of these calendar records, any of these. So anything that has a list here, and if I look over in my quick clicks and I see the little eNotify option here, if I have that, I can attach this record to the eNote and send it on so that they can review this record. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take this calendar record, and I'm going to, again, send it to myself so you can see what happens. And you can see it has this little link in here of all the information, and that when Ron gets it, so I'm going to send this to Ron and send it, and it's going to pop up. I have the information, and I could have typed a message in there too. I didn't. I could have said, hey, take a look at this record and tell me, you know, if that works for you. But right within the eNote is the linked calendar record. And I'm going to go ahead and close out of it behind me here. And I'm going to click on the eNote linked calendar record, and it takes me right into that same record that I just had. You know, maybe I just created it, and it shows me the information so I can verify yes or no, I got all of it. Or yes, that would work for me for a calendar entry. And again, I can dismiss that out. It saves it in my list. I could journal it to the client, any of those things. So let's go back into the client again and do a different example. Maybe there's a document. And of course, we don't have any documents on this. Did I get off that list? Oh, it moved me down. That's why. Thought I was still on Michael Larson. There we go. So document. So let's take a document. Maybe this is some pleading that I had worked on and I need to have somebody proof it, or I want them to also put in and review it. Again, just eNotify on the right. Who do I want to send it to? Send it to Ron again and send. Pops up on Ron's screen immediately. He would see that I have this document here. There's a link to the document and the document management record down below. So right within the record or the eNote itself, he could click right on that link and go right directly to the document, or he could click on the link document management record and go right to the doc management record and then open the document there. Now, these eNotes will be sent immediately, but if the user on the other end does not have PracticeMaster open, it will pop up as soon as they open or log into PracticeMaster. So if they do not have, they have it just reduced on their screen, this would pop up and alert them. If they've not logged into PracticeMaster that morning yet, as soon as they do, this will pop up and be waiting for them and alert them. The other nice thing that this does is both eNotes and eNotify will also be available in Tapestry Connect. So if they are out at court and you send them an eNote and they open Tapestry Connect, again, eNotes follow and can go out there and be opened and reviewed and sent from Tapestry Connect. So these follow along with that as well. There's also the convert to fee. I think I showed you that within the eNote itself. If you click on the fee button, you can convert to a fee and say what client you want to save that eNote to and actually bill for it as well. Paul?
Awesome. I love the eNotify. I think it's a huge time saver. I mean, think of this scenario. Hey, that deposition that was next Tuesday at 9 o'clock for that one matter for travelers, the one with the truck accident, wasn't that postponed? That's the non-eNotify way to do it. With eNotify, you simply find that record, eNotify whoever you're going to ask, and say, hey, wasn't this postponed? So it saves all that explaining of how to get to what it is that you're trying to send to them, because you're sending it to them all at the same time. Huge feature. I'm going to talk about data outside of PracticeMaster. Everything that is in PracticeMaster is available to you outside PracticeMaster if you have the ODBC drivers. As I said in the opening, ODBC stands for Open Database Connectivity. And what that means is it's a standard. It's a standard for connecting to data, and as long as the data you're connecting to follows that standard, then you can do it. Now you need something called a driver. If you have Platinum SQL, not just plain old Platinum, but Platinum SQL, or what we call Platinum SQL, you've got those drivers. They were included. Everyone can use them free of charge. If you've got Platinum Regular or multi-user or single user, you can tell by going into Help About and seeing whether you've got Platinum or Platinum SQL or multi-user or single user. If you've got anything other than Platinum SQL, you do need to buy the ODBC drivers. They're $99 per workstation that you need them for. Now, why would you want to buy the ODBC drivers? Well, if you have them installed, you can do something like this. Now, I'm not going to get into how to configure ODBC. There are articles. There are KB articles on how to install both the Platinum SQL ODBC drivers and the Platinum and multi-user, what we call the legacy ODBC drivers, the old ones. And we can do that for you. And to be quite frank, it's probably cheaper and easier for you to just have us install those drivers and get connected to your data, because there's a lot to understand in how they work. But once they're installed, you can go to a program that supports ODBC and Microsoft Word and Excel and Access and Crystal Reports, anything that's ODBC compliant, and most everything these days is ODBC compliant. You'll be able to go and say, I want to connect to my data, and I'm going to go to some ACS data, and I can say, well, I want to look at my client file, and I am looking for address 1, address 2, address 3, and city. So these are bits of data that are coming in from PracticeMaster or from tabs. Maybe you want a list of the fee entries for a specific timekeeper that have not been billed for all of July. Or maybe you want information from your general ledger to produce, let's say, an income statement that looks way different than the income statement that you can get from the general ledger system. Or maybe you just want a list of all your timekeepers with their email addresses, which you can, I believe, specify in the timekeeper file, user file. Or anything that's in tabs or AP or GL or Trust or PracticeMaster can be pulled into another program. Now, right now, I'm just building a query real quick. And when I get out of here, it's going to ask if I want to put this back into Excel. I guess it's not when I get out of here. Okay, let me do this again. I go back in from other sources. I'm going to select ACS. I'm going to select the client file. And I'm going to say I want address 1. Oops. Address 1 and city. When I close up this, what's called Microsoft Query, it says, where do you want to put this? I could put it on any cell or start it on any cell. And it actually goes out and gets that data. Now, if I were to pull this up again later, if I were to save this and then pull this up again later and refresh this table, it would pull fresh data. So if I have something where in my Excel spreadsheet, I have a beginning and ending date range, and maybe a client number field, and I build a query based on those fields, I can specify a beginning date, an ending date, and a client number, and then it will go out and pull that data. Maybe it's fees, maybe it's costs, maybe it's invoices and accounts payable that have been billed to this client. Maybe it's emails from a certain time range that have been journaled into PracticeMaster for a specific case. Anything that's in there, you can pull out and do other things with. Now, this isn't for the faint of heart. This is an advanced feature for somebody that understands Excel or Access or Crystal reports and understands, at least in a very tertiary manner, how the data is constructed, how it's set up in PracticeMaster, how it's set up in tabs, and then can pull that data together into some meaningful form in Excel or Access or Crystal reports or whatever it is that you're doing. Now, a little bit of help for you to find out how that data is set up. I'm not going to save that. If you go into PracticeMaster and do reports, you can get a file definition on any file in PracticeMaster. So in this system, I'm looking at client or calendar or eNote or contact, or fees are going to be in here, costs are going to be in here, and then all the different files that come with the different areas of practice if you're storing information in PracticeMaster by area of practice. Anything that's in there, you can pull out. So if I wanted to pull something from the claimant information file in workers' comp, all I need to know is how the file is laid out. Let's say I want everything that was referred from Dr. Smith, or referred from an accountant, Paul Purdue, or referred from another attorney. And so I could go into whatever software I'm using, say, hey, I want to pull everything where the referred from equals Purdue/Paul, and I want to know the client number, the client name, the matter, work description, and in a list for everything that was referred from Paul Purdue, if the case was opened in the last year. Okay. Now, that's a lot of magic to happen, and so I'm not going to try and fool you and say, oh, this is just something you buy the ODBC drivers, and you have access to this data, and you can do whatever you want with it. Well, yeah, if you know how to do what you want with it. So keep in mind, if you understand how Excel works, and you've worked with some other data source or ODBC connection in the past from some other program, then this will afford that same functionality to you in accessing the PracticeMaster or tabs or AP or GL or Trust data. If you don't understand how any of that works, then, well, you can still use ODBC to do what you want, but you're going to need to get some help. Somebody has to understand what you want to get, how to get it out. Somebody needs to set up the ODBC drivers, and then somebody needs to set up Excel or Crystal reports or whatever to pull that data and put it into a meaningful format for you. So I guess our purpose of including this brief introduction to ODBC in this PracticeMaster virtual user group meeting is A, to let the people that understand what I'm talking about say, oh, I didn't know I could do that. I want that, and I'm going to go play with it. And B, to let those people who are sitting there right now as I'm talking going, what the heck is he talking about, to at least know that we can do things outside the scope of the program. So if you don't like the way you're able to get certain bits of information out of PracticeMaster using the custom report writing functionality that's built into PracticeMaster, but you don't really understand how this ODBC stuff works, well, at least now you know that you have access to that data outside the scope of PracticeMaster. And that can start a conversation with me or Mary Jo or somebody else or support at STI about how you might go about doing that. So there's two things that are important here. Knowing that you can do it, and if you have the skills, taking that a step further and being able to do it. So that's my brief introduction to ODBC and getting at the PracticeMaster data from outside of PracticeMaster. Next month, in our PracticeMaster virtual user group meeting, we have a single topic month. Mary Jo and I are going to take the entire half hour and talk all about printers, how to set them up, what to do when you get a new one, what to do if you want to have a different set of margins for the same printer so that you can print reports to the laser printer one way versus another way. We'll show you how to do that. We'll show you everything you could possibly want to know about printers and how they work within PracticeMaster. And of course, if you've been here before, you know I'm not going to let you go until I show you that if you go to attorneycomputersystems.com, notice the emphasis on that last S in the word systems, and if you then click on the word videos in the menu, you will be taken to a place where you will see information on all the videos that we have in our library. We have, of course, our 3 virtual user group meetings. You're currently in the PracticeMaster virtual user group meeting. We also have one for tabs and one for World Docs. The other live event that we have on a monthly basis is our Coffee Pot webinars. So these are all about the appropriate program, World Docs, tabs, and PracticeMaster. These Coffee Pot webinars are all about other things, other products that hook into tabs or that hook into PracticeMaster or that hook into World Docs. And then we also have some pre-recorded video titles that aren't live events. Mary Jo does 3 e-bites every month, one for tabs, one for PracticeMaster, and one for World Docs. These are short 3 or 4 minute videos that really zero right in on one very specific and succinct thing that we can explain very quickly. And so they're neat little tips and tricks and things that you may not have known about that you can find out very quickly with our eBites video series. We also have the Paul and Mary Jo show, which is a longer format show. We will take a broader topic, Mary Jo or myself will take a broader topic and delve very deeply into it, spending 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes explaining all the intricacies of that and explaining it in much greater detail than we go into in our eBites video series. If you go into one of these items, let's go to more info for PracticeMaster, you will find if it's a live event, first, every one of them will have a description at the top of what it is and the title. And then if it's a live event, you'll see the date of the next one. Now, this is the one you're in right now, but this will change very quickly. And the title, 2 links to register. They're both the same. Don't worry about which one you use. They both take you to the same place. And then a description of what we'll be talking about that day. But as you scroll down, then you will find pre-recorded versions of every other PracticeMaster virtual user group meeting or tabs or World Docs or Coffee Pot webinar that we've ever done. So I told Mary Jo in our last VUG for tabs, we really have to count these because I keep saying we have almost 1,000, and I think we probably have gotten to the point where we are now over 1,000 videos on our website. So there is a lot of video content out there waiting for you to peruse and learn and use as an educational tool. You can browse, you can sit here all day long and just scroll through watching videos, or you can type in our search box and find something very specific that you may be looking for and go ahead and search for it and get to the results that will take you to a specific video. So please take advantage of all that stuff. It's out there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That's it for today. Everybody have a good rest of the day and a good rest of the month, and we will see you in August. One thing to remember, August this month, our virtual user group meetings in August are on a Tuesday. Very unusual, but it's what it is. So they're on a Tuesday, the last Tuesday of the month, not the last Monday. You've been warned. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.